Thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm Corey Johnson. We start with breaking news. Today, the estate of Paul Allen officially announced it's reached an agreement to sell the Trailblazers. If that sale is approved by the NBA Board of Governors, Tom Dundon will become the new owner. He's currently the owner of the NHL's Carolina Hurricanes. There are also 3 minority owners, including one that wasn't previously reported. The Churn Family Trust is also getting a stake in the team. It's the family office of the co-founders of Panda Express and Panda Restaurant Group. In the statement today, the Allen estate says the new owners plan to keep the team in Portland. We'll have more details coming up this evening, starting in KGW News at 4.
I hear all the time that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here, and that person is now in custody.
According to the Associated Press, the suspect in the assassination of right-wing political activist Charlie Kirk has been arrested on suspicion of capital murder as well as obstruction of justice. That suspect, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson of Utah, was arrested after he indicated to a family friend that he was responsible for the shooting. Utah Governor Spencer Cox announced the arrest during a press conference this morning. NBC's Jay Gray brings us the latest from Utah.
Well, Utah's Governor Spencer Cox opening a press briefing this morning with 3 words that many, not only here in Utah but across the country, had been waiting to hear. We got him. An investigation that moved very rapidly over about 33 hours, finding and arresting the suspect in the assassination, Tyler Robinson, who apparently was recognized by family members in video released from the incident by the FBI. That led to a call to police, who have interviewed some of those family members. Here's what we know about the suspect at this point.
Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate.
And with this arrest, the investigation does still continue building toward a trial. The governor of Utah, along with President Trump, have said they expect to pursue the death penalty in this case. That's the latest from Utah. I'm Jay Gray, NBC News.
Well, hundreds of workers, including para-educators and technology specialists in the Vancouver School District, have voted in favor of a strike. Workers have been bargaining for a new contract since April, this after their previous agreement expired at the end of August. They're pushing for higher pay and more staffing, saying it's been tough to retain employees, which they say too often leave schools without enough para-educators and support staff to properly care for students.
We don't have enough supervision on the playground. Sometimes we have 2 paraeducators for 4 grades. Accidents happen. We had some pretty severe accidents that happened at our school, and that is a #1 priority of a lot of the instructional paras that do recess duty is safety.
In a statement to families, Vancouver Public Schools says, quote, they remain hopeful that an agreement can be reached and that a strike will not be needed. It's also not clear yet when that strike would start. Students in the Evergreen School District returned to classes today after the union representing classified workers voted to ratify a new deal with the district. That ratification puts an end to a walkout that has delayed the start of the school year for more than 2 weeks now. The district says it'll release more information soon about the plan to make up the 12 missed school days. And we have breaking news out of La Center right now. The teachers' strike in La Center is over after the district's teachers voted to ratify their new contract. Their union and the La Center School District reached a tentative agreement yesterday. La Center teachers have also been on strike since last Wednesday. Now that means that La Center students could be back in the classroom come Monday. And now with a look at your forecast, Chris McGinnis is in the Weather Center with the latest on your Friday.
Yeah, good afternoon, Corey. Well, check this out. We'll take you there. We'll take you to the mountain. It is clear over Mount Hood. It is clear out in the Columbia River Gorge as well as we take you out to Oregon's Veterans Home in the Dalles. A little bit of haze there as well, but clear. And even along the Oregon coast, starting to clear as we check out the live look from the Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City. Stuck in the middle is the Willamette Valley. And as we check out the satellite radar imagery, well, we'll check that out in a second. We are kind of socked in with cloud cover right now. This is a live look from Vancouver and our latest camera from the springs along the waterfront here. And you can see the clouds over downtown, although we are starting to poke a few holes in that cloud cover. And I do expect that to be a trend over the next 2 hours. 65 last check in the Couve. As we check out the visible imagery here, you can see the low clouds kind of hanging tough here up and down the I-5 corridor, but we're clearing out the higher terrain of the Cascades, parts of the Oregon coast as well starting to clear, and with some good fortune, I think we will clear out as we go into the afternoon. 64 last check at PDX, and the plan for the rest of the day as we look at temperatures across the region, we'll see things beginning to moderate just a bit. 69 in Canby. We only hit 69 yesterday for the first time since early June. Temperatures did not crack 70 here in Portland. We will get there today, about 72 or 73 later this afternoon with enough sunshine. And then we're going to turn up the heat a little bit tomorrow. We could be into the mid 80s on Saturday. Kind of a 50-50 weekend coming our way, Corey, because we've got showers and maybe some thunder in our Sunday forecast. I'll walk you through that in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Chris. We'll see you in just a bit. Well, now at noon, a Clark County man convicted of trying to hire people to kill his ex-wife is trying to get out of prison decades early. In 2008, a judge sentenced Dino Constance to more than 50 years in prison for hiring 3 men to murder his now ex-wife. Yesterday, he went before the state's Clemency and Pardons Board, telling board members he didn't do anything wrong and should be released. His wife at the time ended up not being heard. She pleaded with the board to keep Constance locked up.
I do not want to spend the rest of my life living in fear that he's lurking around the corner waiting for me. And there's no way that his hatred for me and needing retribution has changed in the 18 years that he's been in prison.
Now, the board recommended Constance not be released. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson will have the final say. The Clark County Sheriff's Office is looking for a man who's accused of stabbing his mother. Investigators say 30-year-old Miguel Bravo stabbed his mom early yesterday morning at the Oaks Mobile and RV Park in Woodland and then took off. She was taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Now, the Sheriff's Office says Bravo drove off in a white 2005 Acura. He's considered armed and dangerous. Police in Gresham are hoping to find the man who they believe burglarized City Hall last weekend. These photos right there on your screen were taken from a surveillance camera. Investigators say he broke into multiple offices early Saturday morning, targeting electronics and city credit cards. While the thief made off with some items, police say they found much of the stolen property a few blocks away. Authorities also confirmed no critical city systems or data were compromised. President Donald Trump says he's sending National Guard troops to Memphis to help tackle the city's persistent crime problems. He called Memphis, quote, deeply troubled, and said the response could even expand to include the Army. Federal data shows Memphis has the highest violent crime rate in the country, but local leaders note homicides have been dropping this year. The move is drawing mixed reactions from state and city officials. Meanwhile, Oregon Senators Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley are joining 16 other senators urging a federal court to bar President Trump from deploying military troops to Los Angeles. They're backing a lawsuit filed by California Governor Gavin Newsom. This after President Trump deployed thousands of National Guard troops in Southern California. In a statement, Senator Merkley said, quote, Trump's response to protests in California and threats to send troops to Portland are purely authoritarian, outrageous abuses of power designed to raise tensions. Last week, President Trump talked about sending the National Guard here to Portland during a discussion about what cities he thought needed support from federal troops. Portland City Councilor Samir Canal is introducing 2 new ordinances aimed at expanding protections for immigrant and other vulnerable communities. Now, one proposal would formally write Portland's sanctuary city status into city code, going beyond that resolution first adopted in 2017. The ordinance also directs the city to train employees and add immigrant affairs liaisons in each bureau. A second proposal would prohibit law enforcement from covering their faces and concealing badges. The council is expected to take up the measures in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, Portland police want people to know how to identify them versus immigration officers. In 2 new videos put on the Bureau's website, Chief Bob Day reminds people that Portland police do not engage in immigration enforcement. They also show how to tell PPB officers and vehicles apart from other agencies. Chief Day says the goal is to ensure everyone feels safe calling and talking to local police. Well, a teacher and another staff member at a Beaverton preschool have joined a lawsuit that aims to keep immigration enforcement away from schools. The lawsuit against the Trump administration follows an incident in July when ICE agents detained a man while he was trying to drop his son off at school. The incident sparking outrage among teachers who say it's exactly what they want to avoid. The lawsuits seek to protect schools alongside churches and places of worship from immigration enforcement.
This is beyond just the immigrant communities. It's about everybody's safety, everybody's families.
For nearly 3 decades, immigration agents avoided sensitive locations, but that has changed under the Trump administration. Attorneys argue the shift has left children and teachers living in fear, with some students staying home.